Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dork List. My name is Jordan Fay.
My name is Darian Christian. We back.
We're back. It's been approximately 2 weeks since our last episode.
Yeah.
Weren't necessarily just like jumping at the bit to come back for another one, since we did technically release 3 episodes in this month.
And no, don't worry. We're not trying to overclog you, even though most of you only watch this and listen to this podcast because of Jordan. And you're probably getting sick of me at this point. But luckily it's our podcast and you have to deal with me.
And Darian's really loud voice. But that's another issue altogether.
Yeah.
Anyway, coming back at the end of February, and this is the Monday after Anime Crossroads, so I'm finally back from Indiana.
Yep.
And it was one hell of an experience, and a really good one at that.
We'll be talking about that. It is also the Monday after WWE's Fastlane event, which has the internet in an uproar, like most WWE events. I'll be talking about that, and this is the first time you're going to hear a proper wrestling rant from Darian today. So,
quote-unquote proper rant.
No, I mean, yeah, quote-unquote proper. So, you'll hear about that. But
So we'll talk about that.
Yep.
We're also going to talk about Deadpool, because we have to.
We have to.
That's not even a question.
It's not even a question.
But we're also going to talk about Zyuohger, since that premiered.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to talk about Ninja.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it kind of, like a broad thing, but
Yeah.
Darian hasn't watched the finale yet.
The last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I only have 3 episodes that I'm probably going to binge watch as soon as Jordan's done.
But, so we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about some other stuff at the end as well. Updates right before Amki.
Yeah.
So
We got some expansions for the future that we're going to talk about.
And I'm going to talk to you guys about my gaming channel as well.
Yeah.
For anyone that might not be following that
You just
already.
want to combine those with Anime Crossroads then?
Sure. I
Okay.
can. Okay. So,
Tell us about your trip to
Convention.
Anime Crossroads.
okay. So, 4.5 hour drive down to get to Indiana. Drove that all by myself after work on Thursday night.
Jordan can drive.
I can drive. The funny thing is, my friend Shai, who was the one that invited me to go, called me at one point, like when I was like an hour away from her apartment, and asked me where I was, and I was like, I have no idea where the hell I am right now.
Because you're in Indiana.
Right. And then I was just like, there are some giant effing red lights blinking in the sky. I have no idea where I am. And then I was like, oh, they're windmills. They're effing windmills. I'm surrounded by effing windmills right now. Yeah, because Indiana has just a few giant strips of windmills here and there. But yeah. So then we went to, when we got there, we went to like the Meyer, or however you pronounce it, that one store, Meijer. Shai was supposed to buy a lamp. Shai forgot to buy a lamp. Had to do a walk of shame back in. Sorry, Shai, it's too funny not to share. No, I am extremely happy that she invited me to come to this convention, because it was a nice change of pace for me, because it was a much smaller scale convention. I'd compare it to like GeekCon.
Yeah, but it's also much farther away than any convention I think you've previously been to.
Correct. This is the farthest I've gone to date, but I'll be going back in September when I go to RamenCon. But that being said, Anime Crossroads itself was really nice because everything was in that like one hotel area. Mm-hmm. There was not, a ridiculous amount of walking involved, and like I said, the attendance was just right, in my opinion, because again, it was a much smaller con in comparison.
Sometimes those are great though.
They are, like, it's nice to have that, like,
it's more intimate and it's more
you get to have fun with the people that you're with.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, I got to make a lot of new friends at this event, and I'm very happy to have made the acquaintance of these new friends. And I look forward to meeting them again in the future, working with them. Um, Maybe one day. I talked to him about one possibility that I'm not going to talk about here because it's still nothing's 100%. It's a whole bunch of what if scenarios, but I will say, like, in general though, this year looks to be a really good one with the cosplay side of things for me, and like a lot of stuff in general, I should say, because it's kind of weird to say it, but I'm kind of getting my life together again.
Yay for Jordan!
For the longest time, it was just like, my social life sucks and everything else sucks, and I've been getting back on top of things, new plans.
And contrary to
coming
popular belief, Jordan and I don't spend every minute with each other, because if we did, I guarantee you I would annoy the crud out of him.
Yeah, no. I've been spending a lot of time with other people though, but that's another thing I'll talk about in a bit.
Leaving Darian all by himself lonesome.
Well, not if your thing goes through too, but I digress. Which, if, for instance, so if that were to happen, we would be living close to each other-ish again. So, but I digress. Back to Anime Crossroads. It was, for me, it was a reprise cosplay weekend, for the most part, because on Friday I was Jotaro Kujo again from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders. And then on Saturday, I was Josuke Higashikata from Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. It was also, though, one of the first cons in a long time that I actually borrowed somebody else's cosplay and did that on Saturday night. And I actually did a Tsukishima cosplay from Haikyuu, which I'm very happy that I finally got to do a Haikyuu cosplay, just since I still want to do a Kuro cosplay down the line. When it happens is still up in the air, but thankfully that's one of the ones where it's a lot easier to do, and it should be a lot easier to buy, so that shouldn't be too much of a hassle. But overall, I would say that Anime Crossroads was definitely one of the more pleasant convention experiences I've had. Just because I didn't have to deal with any drama. I got to spend it with my friend Shai and meet her friends, as well as a bunch of other friends. A lot of JoJo people, which that made me super, super happy that I got to expand my JoJo family of friends. We just fist bumped. But yes, I'm very happy. Anime Crossroads. I would definitely recommend it to anybody in the Indiana area, or even like kind of in Illinois if you'd like. But moving on, as we mentioned, I'm part of a video gaming group. We mentioned in the last episode, and since then we've actually had a lot of traction. And Rainbow Road Krew is up and running fully at this point.
A lot of episodes.
A lot of episodes so far. We have played Mario Kart, Super Mario Maker, Super Smash Brothers, and also Enchanted Arms for the PS3. We have every connection that we need to record all of the current gaming consoles as well as retro ones, because I found the right equipment for that.
Let me in on those equipment too, because
I will. But God, the thing is, Justin, who, if I had to do like a comparison, for those out there that know Game Grumps, I'd say Justin, also known as Elusive Seraph, and myself are kind of like the Dan and Aaron of the group, just because we're kind of the center of a lot of episodes, at least for the time being. But like we do a lot with everybody, and we've also had so far one other friend on the show for a few episodes, so definitely room in the future for more. But it's been very fruitful so far, and we're going to be doing a lot more recording, and eventually we'll be uploading more than just a video a day. But that being said, I'm still very proud that we've been doing about one video a day so far, because since we're a startup channel, it's very important that we're making that connection with people. But that being said, there will be a link in the description to this video for all the information that you need for Rainbow Road Krew, what we do. That being said, everything is also on my website as well. Because I have blurbs for the Dork List and Rainbow Road Krew there as well as links to all of our videos for Dork List and Rainbow Road Krew. So my website is now like a one-stop shop kind of thing where you have links to every platform that we're on, so that you're never wondering, hey, where's the next episode of something? You can go on the website if need be and go there. Otherwise, we update our Facebooks. But the one thing, if you really want to be on top of our videos for Rainbow Road Krew, is to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because then you'll see it in your feed whenever you log on. So I definitely recommend that. Yeah, have you watched anything yet?
I have not watched any episodes yet. I'm gonna be on top of that. Hey! I've been trying to get stuff started so I can stream Cyber Sleuth.
That's fair.
And this has been it's a longer grind than I thought it would be. And the problem with it is that, long story short, Cyber Sleuth is a massive, massive grind, and I've been going the slowest out of the two friends I have. Dork List alumni Alan Sharpley finished it today, and another friend of ours, Brinks, is not finished, but he's like a chapter ahead of me. Last night I checked. I did do some leveling earlier, but long story short, it's rough, and you'll hear about that once we have an opportunity to stream it.
But yeah, that'll still be a thing for the future.
Also, it will not be the normal game. It will be New Game Plus with additional content in it, as well as I get to keep all my old Digimon. So it won't be so much of a grind, and it won't be so much of a, okay, I gotta run my Digifarm, level these guys up, and paying attention, which is what a lot of it is. So it'll be more like a walkthrough type thing. So we'll be able to do that and just get you through the story so you can experience all of it and how to do things. So that's a little update on that.
Okie dokie then.
Okay.
All right. So that does it for that topic. So the next thing we're going to move on to then is Deadpool. Wow.
It's so good.
To say it is amazing is an understatement. And that's not just saying that as comic book fans, but like genuinely this movie was fantastic. And it was Ryan Reynolds' love, essentially his love letter to the fans that had been begging from the beginning for a legitimate Deadpool movie
for years,
compared to X-Men Origins Wolverine's, which he does. He makes some digs in it. And
he makes some digs for Wade Wilson's character beforehand.
Well, the actual action figure shows up in the movie too, which is hilarious.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that, but it's legitimately good, as long as you weren't the people who brought their kids to it.
Which that was, the biggest warning from the get-go.
They yelled at people. Don't bring your kids to this.
It's R-rated for a reason. Like, I mean, first off, like that is the biggest thing, is that you should see that this movie is rated R. Are you gonna bring your kids to any other R-rated movie? No. Maybe, but the thing is, you're still supposed to pay attention to what's actually happening in it.
Yeah, especially for the people who went on opening night with their kids, and in the first 20 minutes, were like, dang, I can't think of the word. I apologize. This never happens to me.
I guess
you were privy.
You were assuming that it was not going to be as bad as what it was, as bad as it actually was, because you were thinking, oh, it's another superhero movie.
People
like,
got shot in the head.
They have an actual like CGI character in the movie. It's not gonna be that bad, right?
People got shot in the head. People were decapitated. Sex scenes.
Nudity. Ryan Reynolds penis.
Ryan Reynolds penis.
Although
strap-ons.
not necessarily something like just outright there, but yeah, happy International Women's Rights Day. But
that was the most uncomfortable moment in the movie, no matter who you were.
No, that part was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but it was still uncomfortable depending on who you're with. You're just like...
No, it was hilarious, but I digress.
It was hilarious. I'm not debating that it wasn't. It's just... You're not used to seeing that type of thing in any movie.
What made Deadpool such a success, though, is that it did not necessarily play to all of the kind of like the classic movie tropes or even the rules of what a movie should be.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, like the opening credits itself is an example right out of the gate of, oh, this is going to be something hilarious. Just because at the beginning of the movie, they don't list the actor names. No, they give everybody nicknames, and it is hilarious. That being said, was the movie perfect?
No. There's no such thing as a perfect movie.
The thing is with like if you ever watched the few minute clip that was originally what sparked everything of that car fight, that is one of the biggest like action scenes of the movie.
Yeah.
So
and the ending of the movie is also really huge and actiony. Also, one of the things I really liked is that it was an original story. Very, very original versus like going to like a Deadpool storyline that's been done.
And what was also great is that while it was an origin movie, it did not play out like an origin movie does.
No, it did not.
In that it had carefully calculated how it did its flashbacks in a way that it kind of made it more
Don't worry,
organic.
It's not like Man of Steel's flashbacks.
No. And it's hilarious at one point when they do a fast forward and it's like, wait, you weren't supposed to see that. Keep going. But no, the acting in that movie was phenomenal. Everyone had a part to play, and no one was really lacking at all.
Colossus is finally Russian.
And his character is actually done right. The funny thing that I mentioned to Darian is that it's kind of funny to say it, but Deadpool kind of plays more to its comic origins than any other movie does.
Pretty much, yeah.
And again, that's partly, in fact, because of Ryan Reynolds' efforts in making this movie.
Not to mention, after the filming was over, he took his suit with him because he's like, no, I'm taking this suit. People were like, how funny, Ryan. No, I waited years for this. I'm taking this suit home with me.
Not to mention, I mean, he was the one responsible for the viral ad campaigns that it had. But it's funny because only $56 million was put into the movie itself, and it's already made that 8 times over, and it's only 2 weeks out. So could Deadpool make it to be the top earning R-rated movie of all time domestically? Maybe. Passion of the Christ still holds that number 1 title, but it's a possibility. But another thing that I did want to mention, though, is that with the success of Deadpool being a rated R movie, what does that have in store for other superhero movies? Just because that does open the gates for possibilities. Wolverine 3 was the one that was thrown out as being something that could happen.
It's kind of something that needs to happen in terms of Wolverine, and I say this because
the other 2 were kind of eh.
And it's Hugh Jackman's final.
Yeah.
It's Hugh Jackman's final Wolverine movie. They've said that they're going to do it over the Old Man Logan storyline, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm still kind of on the fence about because of how since the timeline changed, I'm kind of going,
Well, let's be honest though, the whole X-Men timeline in general is all over the place because of how they decided to make what
oh yeah.
movies.
One other thing about Deadpool, there was no references to Apocalypse at all, none. But that's
kind
okay.
of
It's
good
it's okay.
because it makes it so that Deadpool is still kind of a separate thing.
Yeah.
And I believe they actually make that joke though about like what timeline are we even in
Yeah,
this movie?
they make the joke. Also interesting, there was no Apocalypse trailer before the movie.
There was for me.
There was for you?
Yeah.
That was weird. In ours, there was no Apocalypse trailer at all. It was just like, okay. But more or less, it's a great movie, and I'm actually really hoping that Wolverine is finally R-rated.
Right.
It's kind of have to be for Old Man Logan.
Right. Well, and the thing is though, this is like the first legitimate, actual successful R-rated superhero movie. Yes, there have been some in the past.
Not
The first Kick-Ass movie did better than the second one. Watchmen was also a thing, but nobody really liked Watchmen because of how it was treated. And Judge Dredd, no one cares really about Judge Dredd. But it opens up the window of possibilities for Wolverine more than anybody. But
really because it's a long time coming
yeah.
for this.
I did love though, and this was something I learned after the fact though, that they were able to sneak in a Marvel character that they really should not have been able to do, but they did.
Who was it? I didn't see it.
Hydra Bob.
Oh my god! Wait, yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. It's not really a huge spoiler since Hydra Bob's cameo is like really small. But for those that know, Hydra is part of the overall Marvel ownership.
Yeah.
And X-Men is owned by 20th Century Fox, and they only have a small like group of things that they actually have
license
the
to.
rights
The
to.
Fantastic Four, everything the Fantastic Four has touched, which is actually a lot of stuff. But
mutant in general. The word mutant can only be used by 20th Century Fox titles.
And the thing about this is, and as I know people have made jokes about it and about how bad the Fantastic Four movie is, and that they're really, really hoping that Fantastic Four they'll get the rights back for that. Odds are, since it's been so dang quiet on that forefront, the odds are not in its favor, but it's leaning towards it. But then you look over at the X-Men side of things, and they're fine. They're perfectly fine. They hit it out of the park with Days of Future Past. Deadpool was just amazing.
But that wasn't necessarily because of Fox involvement. It was because Fox just gave them the money and then stepped out of the picture, which was the best thing that they could have ever done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think we'll find out like hopefully in the coming months if Fantastic Four is going to divert back or they're going to give like the kind of the Spider-Man treatment.
I wouldn't even give it the Spider-Man treatment because I'm already of the people who don't want a Spider-Man movie again. I don't want another one. I'd rather have a Spider-Man TV series or a Netflix streaming series purely because I think it would suit Spider-Man better.
But I don't think it would work though, just because of what the budget. Oh, well, I guess we
the
can't.
Budget could be cheaper.
We really can't say that anymore, just because of the success that Arrow and Flash have had.
Yeah.
But those are owned by DC,
and DC is ignoring it.
Right.
They're saying, "Oh no, cinematic universe is different. It's different."
Even though the TV shows have brought them more success than anything else. Really recently.
But they're given the TV show treatment, which is it's a TV show and not a blockbuster hit movie.
Right. But anyway, I think that about covers it for Deadpool. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Go see it.
If
I'm probably going to see it again.
Yeah, go see it again just because generally if you watch a movie a second time, there's certain things that'll pop out to you more the second time that will make it a more enjoyable experience for you, just because you're learning more each time.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I'm going to pass things off to Darian because it's time for his wrestling rant.
Okay, so last night was WWE Fastlane's of WWE event pay-per-view, and it left a lot of people outraged. And I just want to make this clear. I am not one of these IWC internet wrestling community guys who's going to stand around and do nothing but complain about the product. Too many people do that. Too many people blame the wrong people for certain problems. And too many people just... There's too much rage, there's too much hatred, and there's too much crap everywhere. I'm not going to be one of these people. I am not one of these people. I do complain about the product a lot. And you laugh, but then again, I guarantee
you're a passionate guy and complain about a lot of stuff, so I'm used to it.
Yeah. But in general for this, it's basically all around the main event, because mostly I don't hear anything else about... It's all, for me, the thing that made Fastlane not so much bad, but of what it just ignored. Because the WWE has been noted for saying it listens to its fans and then flat out basically ignoring them. Flat out just ignoring what they want. And I'm going to be the guy that says this, but it's because that they ignored people that Daniel Bryan's career went the way it did. He took more risks. He did more things that he normally would have done, or anybody would have done to get over, versus how any normal person would have done. And the only reason he was in that main event for WrestleMania is because the fans screamed and yelled that they wanted him. They wanted him. They needed him. And they got him, and then he got injured. And then he came back after a year, got injured again, and then was out for almost a year again. And they made Daniel Bryan sit and waste away for months, getting numerous tests until they finally told him, you can't wrestle for us anymore. We can't have you wrestle anymore. And it led to one of the most heartbreaking retirement speeches I've ever seen in my life. My heart goes out to Daniel Bryan and his wife, Brie Bella. I hope your guys' future is such a great one. Daniel, I know you love this business so much. Hopefully you can find a medium in it. Do training, open up a school, do something. Find something that makes you happy, buddy. But like I said, because of them ignoring him, it lit a fire in him to take more risks, and I'm not gonna lie, he damaged his body more for that. And it hurt him. And it paid back into them pushing him back, until they were finally ready to do it. In this case, the WWE has found a guy. They have found a guy in Roman Reigns. Now, make no mistake, I've yelled about Roman Reigns for the last 2 years. I have complained about Roman Reigns in the last 2 years. But in the last year, since the Royal Rumble, he has gotten the most outcry ever. Because due to a lot of internet rumors, and I know these are rumors, that are confirmed to be true, that he is their next guy. They want to be their next John Cena. They want him to be their next John Cena, their next Hulk Hogan, their next Steve Austin, their next Rock. And first off, I want to tell this as a message to the WWE. You don't get to choose that. You don't. We had just as much a hand in choosing The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and John Cena more so than you did. You may have picked Hulk Hogan, but eventually that got old. You may have picked John Cena. That got old. But in both cases, it became a mutual thing. Whereas The Rock and Steve Austin, that was a fan thing. That was organic. That was something that came out of nowhere. That was something that we made. And just because you slap the seal of approval on somebody doesn't mean we're going to resonate with it. You tried it with Lex Luger and his Lex Express, and what did he do? He jumped ship to WCW. You cannot shove a guy down people's throats and expect it to work. It doesn't work that way. Now, I will give Roman his due. The last year since WrestleMania, since the Royal Rumble, has been one of the most trying and hardworking superstars I've ever seen. He had to work to get these people back. Really, really work. And last year, he got him. He got him. He won the WWE title in the same town that booed him out of the Royal Rumble after he won it. He won it. People were cheering. People were happy. And then, this is where I lay fault. They overthought the Roman Reigns situation. They overthought it. They overbooked it. And they went with the one versus all thing, which they make t-shirts out of, they make merchandise out of, they make it his moniker, they make it a part of his character. I understand that. But putting him in the Royal Rumble match, putting him at number 1, and putting the title on the line in the Royal Rumble match, put Roman in a situation he could not win. Both literally and figuratively. He could not win that match because if he won that match, he'd be viewed as the WWE's poster boy. He'd be viewed as the guy that they want to win. He'd be booked as the guy who was getting pushed no matter what. You put him into a situation in which he was doomed to fail. They did save themselves by having Triple H win the Rumble after Roman put him out a month ago. So, you did fix the problem for that night, but Roman didn't need to be in that situation at all. He didn't need to be there. He could have defended his title against Brock Lesnar or Sheamus or anything, gotten out of that Royal Rumble, and made it past the Royal Rumble, no problem. But there were more factors that led to that Royal Rumble problem in the first place. The numerous amount of injuries. Cesaro, Seth Rollins, John Cena, Tyson Kidd. Injuries everywhere. Low ratings. You're worried. You're worried that your WrestleMania will not sell out. That there are going to be problems. And after the Royal Rumble, they put pieces in place to set up WrestleMania. Like they do every WrestleMania season. They put pieces in place to make it work. Last night's main event was Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. The winner goes to WrestleMania. Now, in this match, it was a normal Brock Lesnar match. Brock Lesnar destroys everything. He destroys everything. He's made to look strong. He cannot be seen as looking weak. And he didn't look weak. Roman and Dean had to put him through 2 tables to keep him down and out of that match. Just so they could get offense for themselves. Dean got tossed around like a rag doll most of the match by Brock Lesnar. After weeks and weeks and weeks of saying, no, take me to Suplex City. Give me more. Give me a beating. And he got that. No, Dean did not look strong against Brock Lesnar at all. Now, for booking in a match, they booked a triple threat match because they wanted to seed and plant the idea in people's heads that Dean could go to WrestleMania over Roman Reigns. Or Brock Lesnar could go to WrestleMania over Roman Reigns. Or Roman Reigns can go to WrestleMania, therefore taking the idea out that it's just going to be Roman Reigns going to WrestleMania. Now, I've been a wrestling fan for over 11 years. And being a fan for that long, things start to get predictable. Just the same as anything in anything you love. Stuff will start to get predictable. You'll start to see things you wouldn't have seen when you started. A month ago, when Roman lost the Royal Rumble match and lost the WWE title, I saw Triple H versus Roman Reigns in sights. Anybody could have called, oh, Roman Reigns is going to take on Triple H. Anybody could have called that match. But WWE, in their overbooking, and smart booking, took Roman the Roman scenario out of the situation where it wasn't a set in stone fact. People what they know, they wanted Dean Ambrose to win this match. They wanted him to win this match. There was a meme that went up on the internet of the situation of the match, which at the end of this meme was Roman Reigns spearing Dean Ambrose, 1, 2, 3, goes on to WrestleMania. That meme was up for 4 weeks. There were several other memes up for 4 weeks saying that he was going to win. It happened. That exact scenario happened. And people are pissed off. Why are we pissed off? I think we're mostly pissed off because it was predictable. It was a predictable ending. It was a predictable win. For me, I was particularly mad. Because a Dean Ambrose character is more over with the fans, more in tune with the fans than a Roman Reigns character. Because Roman Reigns is the WWE's guy. He's the guy they picked. Dean Ambrose is the guy we picked. Brock Lesnar is irrelevant. We didn't want him in the main event because we don't want to see Triple H versus Brock Lesnar for the 4th time again. We don't want to see that. But this was the most blatant ignoring of what the fans want I've ever seen in recent memory. They just flat out ignored the possibility of Dean Ambrose fighting Triple H. They ignored it. And went with their plan to make Roman Reigns. I was mad. I'm mad mostly because I'm tired of hoping. I am tired of hoping for something different and not getting it. That's what I think most people are mad about. That, and prior to that, they had 2 segments and a match that did not belong there and had eventually, and storyline line went nowhere. It wasn't good. It wasn't great. So it just led to a last hour of pay-per-view, which most people look forward to, and it left people disappointed. I'm upset, and now Dean's services for WrestleMania is taken. He is now fighting Brock Lesnar. I was watching Raw while we've been having this podcast. Also, there will be Shane McMahon. Shane O'Mac returned to WWE Raw tonight. To a lot of fanfare. People were happy to see Shane O'Mac, but now it's going to be Shane O'Mac versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match.
For control over WWE.
Yep, and I will say flat out, it's probably not going to happen like that. Because the rumor is John Cena will return early, and it is my idea that if it does happen and John does return, he will take on The Undertaker in Shane's place. Which is a much better idea, because if Shane fights in that match, nobody expects him to win. And Dean Ambrose fighting Brock Lesnar, Dean will not win that match. He will not win that match. It's in Brock Lesnar's contract that he cannot be made to look weak. He cannot be made to look... He cannot be made to look anything less of what he actually is. He beat The Undertaker, the guy who was undefeated for over 20 years at WrestleMania. He's not going to lose that match. And it just leads to a predictable WrestleMania that everybody can see coming. So, this is my message to the WWE, because I'll close things off because Jordan's telling me I'm taking too much time.
I told him that a few minutes ago.
Yeah. This is my message to you. Stop with the predictability and do something different. You got 4 weeks to fix things. 4 weeks to give me a product to care about. Otherwise, you might lose another fan like you might lose another fan. Is it going to take a arena of over 50,000 people booing Roman Reigns and out that main event for you to understand that what you're doing is not working? Fix it. Or make us care about this main event. Do something about it. Tonight didn't do it. You got 4 more weeks. Impress me. Now moving on. I'm sorry, I had to rant.
It's okay. So, moving on, our last topic of the night before we do closing stuff is Dobutsu Sentai Zyuohger. It's gonna be...
It was tough to pronounce when we found out about it.
It's gonna be a pain. I finally made Darian watch the first episode.
You didn't have to make me watch it. I was going to watch it.
I did, since you didn't watch the other 3 episodes of Ninja. I kind of had to. Anyway, what did you think, Darian?
I loved it. And Jordan could contend for this, and I did say this on the podcast earlier, I did not have high hopes for this series. It took one episode for it to change my mind. It's not like it's the greatest first episode ever of like any Sentai ever, but make no mistake, it's really good. The box cube Megazord, the lackluster outfits, one episode will make you think twice about it. The main character, Yamato, is pretty cool. He's a zoologist. This is the first I've actually seen in like any Sentai or...
And he lives with his uncle, who is an animal sculptor who, to get into the mood to sculpt animals, dresses up as animals. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds silly.
And it is silly.
It is silly because Sentais are silly.
And to be fair, again, Super Sentai is meant to appease children in Japan.
Although
and children in Japan can take a lot more than children in America, but that's
seizures and whatnot.
But yeah. Anyway, it was, to me, already showing a lot more promise than Ninja did.
Yeah.
That being said, like, we finally have again a red Sentai character who is actually interesting to look at, like personality wise.
He's not super OP like.
He's not super OP like King was, or I mean even to a degree, right, from Tokyuger, but
yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a super OP red character, and like the other ones actually had still more of a spotlight kind of than he did.
Yeah.
Despite like the epic henshin that he has.
He has an epic henshin, people. It's not even funny.
Not to mention the opening theme song is absolutely fantastic.
I like it.
But what do you expect when you have Hideaki Takatori coming back to reprise another Sentai opening song?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that it's actually going to be able to fit into my anime/Japanese schedule now, because I have an entire Japanese schedule now, and I'm so happy that I have one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hyped for more.
I'm going to talk then a little bit on episode 2 while not spoiling things for Darian, since he hasn't watched the second episode yet. I was watching it as he was watching the first one. But it's the team interaction is different than any other team interaction before. Like, yes, everybody fits into a certain like character like type, but it's interesting because this is the first time that we have a human interacting with an animal-based group. So it's kind of exactly what you'd think it'd be, with a human interacting with animals that are also people.
That was another concern that I had, is that they were humanoid characters, but not humans.
Which is also another interesting thing that happens in episode 2. Because the thing is, like, they have a human cast. Like, every ranger has a human representation, and that was something that we, like, knew from, like, the previews as well. But what's interesting is that, first off, their human transformation isn't a complete human transformation. They actually still have their animal tails, which is kind of interesting. But the other thing is, sorry, Darian, for semi-spoiler, it's not one of the things... No, it's really not a bad spoiler. The transformation isn't actually, like, one that, like, maintains itself. Sometimes it switches back and forth, which leads to, like, interesting comedy moments and other things.
Which we're used to in Sentai.
It's very interesting that they keep both the human actors and then the suit actors involved in each episode.
Although I will not lie, the Blue Rangers, or not Ranger, well, I'm gonna call her Ranger. Her teeth bother me. Her teeth really bother me. But then again, she's a shark, so.
Her her human teeth?
Yeah,
or
both her human teeth.
Oh.
Her human teeth. Her human teeth just bother me for some reason.
Why?
I don't know why. It's just like she's putting way too much emphasis on it when she smiles.
Hmm.
And she's a shark, so it's understandable. But at the same point, it's just like, I'm noticing your teeth way, way too much.
I will say the yellow one is already my favorite.
I thought
Leo is my. I actually want to cosplay Leo at some point, just because like he's just so much fun. But that being said, I believe it does have a lot more promise, than the Ninja did, and that being said, the Ninja had some of the highest potential out of
anyone in recent
any of the recent ones, other than like Kyoryuger did, but it failed miserably because of the cast. Like, the Red Ranger was boring. The White Ranger was.
Honestly, the Red Ranger was the only interesting thing for me, but then again, I'm of that 90s kid generation who loved Red Rangers.
The only Ranger that I liked more than anyone else was Kinji, the Gold Ranger. Like, he had the most personality out of any of them. Everyone else was kind of meh. Other than that, Blue was at least better than... Out of all the other five, I'd say the Blue one was also close to the top, even though he was still very flat.
Yeah.
That being said, like, the show was more so carried by their grandpa and their dad than the actual Rangers themselves. Just because they had more interesting personalities. Mm-hmm. So, in all honesty, Ninja, the ending was alright, in my opinion. It wasn't terrible. And, like, it does end well. I will say that. And there's a lot of fan service towards the end.
In terms of Sentais, I think it's only going to be the third one that I've finished. Because I've started, like, a whole bunch of Sentai since... My first Sentai was Gokaiger, because people like Garrett and Jordan just kept talking about it. And then I watched it and lost my shiz. I lost my shiz watching it. It is so great. And then...
Oh, and not to mention, like, they made it great partly because, yes, one, they were recording in Japan. So, like, any and all past Super Sentai members that they really wanted to get were there. As opposed to, like, with America, where they film in Thailand, and Saban is notorious for underpayment of things, and only with that last episode bring, like, a baker's dozen worth of people?
Yeah. It's just, more or less, they've been cutting costs like that. And it's not just Thailand, they also film in New Zealand, where that was...
Right.
I don't know if that's the thing. That's the thing they used to do.
No, they did it with Dino Charge too, but like the thing is, Dino Charge is actually decent. Like, and I still need to like actually catch up. They're already on their second season, so like the next 20 episodes kind of deal.
Yeah,
but like Dino Charge is actually really good in my opinion, and I know some people will like disagree with me on it, but like,
well, people still have the concerns after the rights. Like, went back.
That was one of the things, but the other thing was how the production was handled. Because we finally have somebody back that was one of the people that was originally working on the stuff while not making, like a carbon copy of it like they tried to do with Samurai and then Megaforce and then Super Megaforce.
I wanted to love Megaforce. I couldn't. You can't. Especially after watching Gokaiger and what it was.
Well, okay, no. Here's the thing with that, though. Megaforce in itself was alright. Was it? Even Samurai was better than Megaforce, but like Super Megaforce is where I have the issue, because Super Megaforce should not have happened the way that it did.
I meant Super Megaforce was a sequel.
Right.
is that it was a sequel to Megaforce, which we all thought was just like, what? Why are you doing that?
That's not how this happens. And then and because of that, they condensed Megaforce to, about 20 episodes and Super Megaforce to 20 episodes.
And Ghost Sager's story is a great story by itself, which is the Megaforce.
It's a very good one because it talks about how pollution is bad, and that we need to protect the environment.
I think that people's main concern for that over here was like, oh well, this isn't the 90s. We can't do cheesy stuff like that anymore. I mean, the last time we did something like this was like in Megaforce, or not Megaforce, Wild Force. I'm sorry, but I just think that they said, okay, we're in the millennials now. We have to do different plot lines for this. But at the same point, they were doing. They did 90s plot lines.
They did it a carbon copy of Power Rangers. It's like, oh, well, stuff happened, so now you guys have new powers.
Everything was a one-episode thing.
But the thing is with that, it was like, oh, hey, you still have your other powers. You didn't lose them. You just have to use new ones too, and it was so badly done. It was so
trying too hard
done.
To be Power Rangers, to be the original Power Rangers. They were trying way too hard, just like Samurai did.
But even Samurai was better
because towards the end, Samurai was forced to get better because Shinkenger did stuff that made. Well, Shinkenger is great. Shinkenger forced the storyline to get better in Samurai. It forced the storyline to get better, if I can take that liberty.
I'd say so. But, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the point we're trying to make then, with everything, is that, Zyuohger is good.
So far, so
good. So check it out. Ninja, finish it if you want to, just so you kind of have closure.
Yeah. If you haven't started Kamen Rider Ghost, get on it.
Yeah, because that again is still really, really good.
It's still really, really good.
It gets better with each episode, which is again, it's a great thing because
it's a great compliment because not all Kamen Riders can do that.
We're looking at you, wizard. Screw you, Kamen Rider wizard. You are the one black mark on the Neo Heisei era.
Oh my god.
And Forze is part of that era. So yeah.
Okay, screw you.
No, I like Forze.
I was about to say I love Forze.
I like Forze. But not everybody does.
No.
But the thing is, when you stack it with everything else, it's unfortunately toward the bottom. Not necessarily because it's bad, but just because everything else is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then on the Power Ranger side of things, Dino Charge is on season 2. It's actually pretty interesting because they have the right people working on it again. So that's something definitely worth checking out as well.
Yeah. I've still only seen the first 2 episodes. I liked it, but then again, it takes a lot to grab me and keep me there. It's good, but it wasn't enough to keep me there. But then again, you can't use me as a judge because I am a terrible judge of things.
Right. Well, and I actually skipped through a couple episodes just to get to the Gold Ranger, but that's just me. And that's also because things pick up after that point anyway. But that being said, that ends that topic. So the last stuff we're going to talk about, closing remarks. One of the ways that we're going to expand the channel is we're not going to be just doing our podcasts anymore. Since our name is the Dork List, we actually want to do some list-based videos.
Yeah. We want to do some more list-based videos. We want to do some stuff. We're still going to talk about stuff, but I think we're going to try and make a portion of it for lists and stuff.
What ideally we'd like to do is that we're going to keep the podcast format that we already have, but similar to how I do it with Rainbow Road Krew, have a day or two every other week possibly, or depending on what happens, just having a sit down session and cranking out a few videos on some of the ideas that we have,
some stuff we've liked and watched together.
Yeah,
because One of the things we do want to talk about is Inazuma 11, which Jordan has finally finished.
I only had a few episodes left to do, so it wasn't that bad.
But you were telling me to finish it first, and it says something when I finish something before you do.
That's fair.
No offense to you, because you're great at finishing things.
Yeah, it's true.
We're gonna do something on that. Some of the lists we want to do are like our favorite Red Rangers, which I guarantee you there's gonna be some words we're gonna have to hash that out, because I guarantee you mine are different than his. Some anime plots that we both find interesting, so we're gonna do a list of that. Superheroes, which we are going to split up into separate subjects. We're not just gonna do basic superheroes in general.
It's too broad of subjects.
We're gonna do powered superheroes, non-powered superheroes. We could possibly do one about alien superheroes, but I don't know how we both have stuff on that.
DC, Marvel, third party.
Worst and best superheroes. We're gonna.
And at one point, too, we're going to take suggestions on what you guys would like to see us talk about.
Yeah.
Just because, obviously, some fan interaction will be good.
Yeah. We got to get on Twitter.
Yeah.
We have to start calling people out.
But that being said, that's what we'd like to do to expand this channel and offer you guys more of that. Because
we do this for you guys.
Right.
And because I like doing it.
And also because I like doing it. And also because I'm kind of learning from my other experiences. So I'm like, okay, we could do more content.
We could do more content. We also are going to be streaming stuff. Some stuff on our own, which will be us. Jordan can invite some people for stuff that we might cohabitate. There will stuff I'll do on my own. There will stuff that Jordan will be doing on his own. We're going to get you guys some more stuff.
Yep, so stay tuned to Facebook, my website, Darian's Facebook, all kinds of stuff.
Is my Facebook on the page?
YouTube. What do you mean? Do you have a page?
Do I have a page? No, not necessarily.
Well, I talk about you all the time, though, on, like, my voice acting page, so...
Okay.
That being said, the last thing we need to talk about then is... But
I was gonna say I have my YouTube channel, but I haven't posted anything recently. So
right. Well, the last thing that we gotta talk about then is gonna be Anime Milwaukee
in 2 weeks. The countdown
3 weeks.
is 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
After that, yep, 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I forget today's Monday.
Yeah, and today's only the 22nd.
Yeah.
But anyway. This will be our last episode before Anime Milwaukee, just because it'd be more fitting for us to do one post-convention than
because we're going to be able to talk about more stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're listening to us and you're in the area, come and see us.
Yep.
I'm going to have 2 panels. One on Friday at... Oh, frack. I'm going to be on Friday at 7 for... Here's the exclusive. I will be doing a Destiny panel. Now that you hear the term Destiny, you can not show up now.
I'm surprised. I did not expect that.
Yeah, we are doing a Destiny panel. It will be me and my friend Clay Holst, that Clay kid. We're trying to do King's Fall before we get to Destiny. Hopefully, wish us luck on that. So we're trying to get the whole clan that we've got in there. We're going to try and get our friend Gio to come too. We're on Friday, and then on Saturday I will be doing Marvel Comics 101.
And when is that?
That is going to be at 6 o'clock or 6:30. I cannot remember which one. And then Jordan's.
My panel will be at 10:30 at night on Saturday.
So there will be no scheduling conflicts.
Yep. Color changing men striking poses insert Dio meme will be making its return from Daisho now to Anime Milwaukee. Since then, I've learned a lot. I helped my friend Shai with her JoJo panel at Indie, so I actually got to learn from that. I'll be adding more anime-influenced stuff to my panel, specifically stuff about the dub, because I learned a lot. I learned a lot of funny things about the dub, especially
I'm
like...
I'm going to have to take a look at this. The idea that there's a
I'll
dub
give
for
away.
this,
I'll give away one thing right now. You want to know who Jonathan Joestar is? The first JoJo?
Oh God, who is it?
Take a guess. Throw a name out there.
It's not Johnny Young Bosch, is
It's
it?
Johnny Young Bosch.
Oh God, I've got to see this. I've got to see this. Just because of that, I have to see this.
Johnny Young Bosch plays Jonathan Joestar in JoJo Part 1, Phantom Blood.
I'm going to
Ichigo
love this.
Kurosaki, the second Black Power Ranger. What's his name from Gurren Lagann that no one likes? Rosyu.
Frackin' rocks you.
Yeah, Johnny Young Bosch is Jonathan Joestar.
I've got to see this.
But that's not even like the best part of like just who voices who.
Please tell me Vic's not in here.
He's not
Oh, thank God.
yet.
Yeah. That
I
scares
mean,
me.
well, you gotta consider though JoJo has such a large cast.
And it's gonna keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yes. But yeah, I'll also have more news on JoJo Part 4's anime. I already know about what the opening theme song is going to be. There was a little bit more art revealed for like the main 5 characters. So it's going to be great. And I got an hour and a half this time, so I'm not crunched for time. I'll have like plenty of time to stretch my
We
legs.
both
talk
got
about
hours
things.
and a half.
For both of yours?
Mm-hmm.
That's surprising, I guess.
Didn't
just
you see?
because-
Didn't they email you the schedule? Just about everybody got it.
I guess that's just kind of surprising based on like what they were saying with like the emails about how like there were so many press for space and whatnot. But
Well, they were pressed for space, not time. That was the problem.
okay, well, I'm happy then for the people that got what they wanted. Because I know some people didn't, but like that's just the way the dice rolls sometimes. But Anime Milwaukee is gonna be fun. Got a lot of our friends going just because it's usually the one con where we can get most people to
I
go
will be
more
dueling
than anything.
at this tournament. I'm probably going to get killed.
Yeah.
But come watch me get killed. It'll be
Yeah.
entertaining.
Other than that, anything else for the good of the people?
No. For you guys, I'm gonna try and have Cyber Sleuth done by AMK, or hopefully done by our next podcast, so we can get on Cyber Sleuth for you directly after it. I'm also possibly, jury's still out, on going to C2E2. I'm gonna try and get to C2E2 that weekend. I'm gonna try. There's no guarantees. A friend of mine might be going with me, and that will make it, and then we're going to have a couple people going, so it won't just be me and my friend Alan going. So jury's still out on that. That's it.
All right. Then if nothing else, as always, my name is Jordan.
My name is Darian. I swear to God I will never rant on this podcast again about wrestling.
Knock on wood. That is not even wood. That is like one of those fold up. This is wood. There we go. There, I knocked on wood for him. All right.
That's not going to count.
It's wood.
Yeah, but you didn't do it.
No, but you knocked. Never mind. You know what? Okay. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next episode.